Hey you, hope you're well. Welcome to my channel. I am Nikki DeForest, and this is episode 4 of Awakening Stories. In this series, I talk about the lessons that I've learned along my spiritual or consciousness awakening and share them with you in hopes that it may be of service somehow. So the topic today is releasing attachment to outcome. There's a lot of words in there, so we'll break it down. So first, since we have to release the attachment, let's talk about what attachment to the outcome is. So being attached to the outcome, for me, in my life story, looked like I would not start anything until, or I should say, unless and until I knew what the outcome was going to be. Like I wouldn't start unless I could see every step along the way. I was holding on to whatever expectations I set in my mind for how a certain situation would play out. And if I couldn't see the end of it, if I couldn't see where it would lead or where it would take me or how it would benefit me, I just wouldn't do it. And what that meant was I was not moving forward. I had to have, okay, so for me, it was all about career. This is episode 4, and I'm doing this series chronologically. So we're still at the very early part of my awakening, again, prior to when I knew I was awakening. So for me, this looked more like a career change. And I could not imagine where else I could go. I was so attached to the outcome of my current career. I was so attached to having to know what the outcome would be that I wouldn't move forward. It made me stuck, or it was part of what made me stuck. There were a lot of things that made me stuck or feel stuck in my career, and definitely having that attachment to like needing to know what was going to happen. Like not being able to just say, "Hey, I'm just going to do this because I love it and see where it goes." I could not do that. I was attached to the outcome of every single decision that I was trying to make in my career. If it didn't work out this way, well, I couldn't see the path forward. Let me say that again. If I would imagine a different career path, unless and until it was guaranteed that it was going to end up that way, I wouldn't do it. So I had zero trust in what was happening in my life for me. Universe, God, Source, Spirit, Angels, Ancestors, however you say it, I say it's my spirit team. I was effectively telling the universe, my spirit team, that I didn't trust what they could do for me, that I had to control the situation, which, by the way, is very much ego-based, and I thought I could control the outcomes. But we can't control the outcomes. If there is anything we've learned in the last 2 years of living on planet Earth, is that we have zero control over what happens sometimes. We can't control where our life goes. We can't control where things go and how things play out and the impact of our lives and the directions our lives take. We have zero control over those things. We really only have control over one thing, and that's our reaction to things. So by needing to control the attachment or control the outcome, needing to control the outcome or having that attachment to the outcome is keeping me stuck. It was keeping me stuck. And this was something that I worked with, or that my career coach had pointed out all the way back when I was the second time that I saw my career coach, which was a career kind of building workshop that she was holding and that I attended with a group of other women. And she was like, she was just like flat out telling me, you need to release the attachment to the outcome. You can't know where things are going, where your life is going. And I can't say that I'm still perfect at this. I mean, I'm getting much better. Let's put it that way. I'm getting much better because there are projects that I am working on besides the blog, besides the YouTube channel. There are projects that I'm working on for fun. And I have no idea what the outcome is going to be. None whatsoever. I am just doing this project because it's fun, because it's what my heart wants, because I have released the attachment to outcome. I have freedom to look and do and be anyway. I can go in whatever direction I want to go in at the time. I can follow what my heart wants because I am no longer telling myself it has to turn out this way. It has to be this much money. It has to go in this direction. It has to look like this. This person has to be like this. There are none of those attachments. So now I can say, I'm just doing this work because it's fun. It feeds my soul and I have no idea where it's going to go. None. I have hopes. I have dreams, but I no longer hold on to the outcomes. I no longer hold on to I I no longer hold on to what I think the outcome has to be. I can now just kind of like release that hold on a little more gently and just say hopes and dreams, and then I'll take my inspired actions and I'll follow what my heart says. I'll follow what makes good business sense. I'll follow where I want. I'll go where I want to go. And if I'll go where I want to go, even though I have no idea where I'm going to end up. And releasing that attachment to the outcome means that I let go of a lot of anger because it didn't go my way, fear because I had to see where I was going and I couldn't go unless I could see the exact outcome. I let go of a lot of frustration and a lot of doubt and a lot of hopelessness because that I held on to because things weren't going the exact way I wanted them to go. And and so in the beginning, when my career coach, Coach Amy Van Court, I'll talk more about her later, when I let go of what I wanted, my attachment to outcome, what I wanted the outcome to look like, when I let go of that, I was then able to let go of that anger. That anger from, why isn't this working out for me? Why is everybody else getting what they want and I'm not? Like the anger and the resentment that I had because my life didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to be. The outcome didn't look like what I wanted, and it made me so angry. I could let that go when I released that attachment to what I thought my life had to be like, or my career had to be like, or my relationships had to be like. Once I cut that kind of attachment to the way things had to be, then I could live my life more freely. And I could release some of those doubts and fears based on, well, it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Ugh. I really used to think like that, I swear. It's ridiculous now when I look back. So maybe I'm better at this releasing attachment to outcome than I thought. Because honestly, when I look back just a few years, When I look back just to 2019, it was the autumn in 2019 where I was starting to learn this lesson in that workshop that my career coach was having. And I look back then and to where I am now, I think releasing attachment to the outcome kind of made me a little fearless because I was no longer saying it has to be this way. I was saying, oh, well, it could go any number of ways. Let's just wait and see how it plays out. And in the meantime, I will do all the work and all the prep and everything that I needed to make it to no. I could still do I could still do all my prep, all my work, and I could still move forward, not knowing how it was going to turn out. Just enjoying the day to day, enjoying my path forward, enjoying the work forward. It's like starting this YouTube channel. Did I know where it was going to go? No, I had no idea. Do I still know? I still have no idea where it's going to go. I am doing it because I like to share what I've learned. I'm doing it because when I write my blog, I don't get to say as much or feel as much or show my emotion as much. And I just felt like I had more to say than what I was able to say on my blog. So I'm just enjoying it. I'm just enjoying it. And it's kind of like just enjoying the ride, even if you don't know where the destination is that you're going to. Just enjoying the ride. I guess in a way it's turned my life into like a joyride versus it's got to be this way and I'm going to go this direction and my outcome is going to be this and well it wasn't that. Now I'm all pissed off. No. My life isn't like that anymore. My life is like this looks fun. I'm going to try that and to see how it works, see where it goes. As long as I'm loving it, the rest doesn't matter. Sorry. You know what I mean? So how do we do it? How do we release the attachment to outcome? I am by no means an expert on this topic. I found a really great article on Chopra.com that I'll link to below that I thought had some really good insights, but this is how it worked for me. I had to do a deep dive on the areas where I felt most angry, most frustrated, and most disappointed. And because I was working on my career and working on my career coach, that's where we started. Or working with my career coach. It's still Mercury retrograde, so I'm still a little tongue-tied sometimes. Hang in there with me. So let's talk about how to release attachment to outcome. And I'm going to frame it in a forward-looking perspective. Because for me, it played out in my career. I couldn't move forward in my career because I couldn't see the end. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. So I would just imagine what I wanted the outcome to be, and it had to be that way. But it doesn't. So I was looking for new careers or new ways to have a career. And it was a little scary. So it was a little bit like, okay, I want a different career. I know I want to help people. I know I want to help women. I know I want to do this, XYZ. So I kind of knew like the things I wanted in my career and then to take a step forward, not knowing what the outcome was or not having that I want it to be this way and I want it to be that way and I want it to be this way. It was just about releasing any expectations I had of what was going to happen. And I did that by looking at just the next step, just the next step. So let's say I wanted to, how did this play out? I wanted to have a career where I could help people and I could talk to people and help people in some way, use my wisdom that I've learned over the years to help people. That was really what I wanted. But I didn't know how to get a career that looked like that. And so I couldn't see the outcome and I would resist. So instead of saying, okay, I want to help, I'm going to stick with the theme. I want to help women. I want to talk to people, but I don't know what that looks like. Okay, so what's the next step? So for me, becoming a coach was how I moved forward. It was like, okay, I want to help people, and that can look like becoming a coach. So let me start researching what becoming a coach feels like. And I would just take the next step. I actually went to a meeting of like a coaches association, and I just sat there and I didn't participate. I just kind of was in the room and I observed, is this what I want? Does this feel like what I want? Does this look like what I want? Maybe. Yeah, it felt really good. I was actually really, really drawn to coaching. So then I took the next step. Okay, I don't know what my career is going to look like yet. I'm just going to go step by step. And I started looking at what training to become a coach looked like. And that was another step. So I think for me, the way I released attachment to the outcome is I stopped thinking about the big picture, the whole shebang. I just started looking at the next step and just kind of trusting myself to know that as I walked my path, those baby steps forward, the next step, okay, after training, learning how, looking at training to become a coach. Okay, so that looks good. That feels good. I'll sign up for training to become a coach. And I started my training. Instead of looking at like, oh, how do I want to say this? Instead of saying, okay, I'm going to become a coach, I'm going to make $100,000 a year, I'm going to do all this stuff, I just said, okay, what feels good right now? Okay, this is what my next step is. I stopped looking at like the ginormity of it, and I just started taking baby steps. And that was the way I could move forward without thinking about having to have my career look a certain way. I knew that I liked coaching. I had been doing it in my prior career as a manager, leading people. So I knew that I could do it. Did I know how it was going to look in the end? Nope, didn't matter. I enjoyed coaching people, so I followed that perspective. Attachment to outcome can keep us stuck and keep us like overly rigid in our thinking and our paths forward in life. Releasing attachment to outcome means we don't have to know what the final answer is. We can just move forward baby step by baby step and trust ourselves that we know enough that if we get to a point on those baby steps on that path, we trust ourselves enough that we can say, oh, this isn't looking like what I thought it would look, or it's not feeling like how I thought it would feel. Let's just pivot. Let's just pivot. Trusting ourselves enough to make the smart decisions and the pivots and maybe evolving as we go, then to create the life that serves us. For me, releasing attachment to outcome means I trust. I trust my spirit team is they've got my back, they're guiding me forward. I can listen to them and move forward, then I trust myself to move forward. Releasing attachment to outcome changed my life. And I'll like I said, I'll link to that Chopra.com article because it was really helpful. And if this speaks to you, if you feel like you have attachments, unhealthy attachments to the outcomes, you can't see your way forward because you think it has to be a certain way. just consider moving forward with your heart a little more instead of your head. Think about, well, maybe if I just don't control so much, maybe what I want to happen will happen if I take the appropriate baby steps and keep moving forward. Hope this helps. I am so grateful that you're here for your views, likes, subscribes. I am truly grateful. In each one of my videos, I highlight someone that I've worked with or someone who inspires me, and I've highlighted her before, especially in Awakening Stories, because she was so pivotal in my life. She changed my life. Coach Amy Van Court, my career coach. If you need a coach, I recommend her. I'll leave a link to her website below. Again, I'm so grateful that you're here. And until the next time on Exploring Spirituality, I love you. Be well.